All right, a little bit of a different show this week. I am flying solo. Tyler and Mike are off this weekend. Mike's on vacation in Greenville, South Carolina. Tyler's got a lot going on with work at General Motors. Those guys don't get paid to do this. I do technically. This show is sponsored by Bentbrook Golf Course here in Birmingham, Alabama. Great course to play. Public, great price, best you can get in the area. Go check it out if you're in the Birmingham area. I'm going to get to the RBC Heritage here in a little bit. I'm going to go over everything you see on the right side here with predictions and odds and best values. I got a couple of interesting stats that you might want to check out here a little bit too if you're going to be making your picks. Always different with the Masters the week before, right? But before I get on all that, man, I got to talk about Scotty Sheffler, and just everybody says the same thing about this dude, right? Incredible, unbelievable, amazing what he did. You don't need me to blabber on. There is one thing that I want to say, though, that I don't think very many people realize about Scotty Sheffler and what he's been doing. I mean, Tiger Woods, throw him out. This has never happened on the PGA Tour except for Tiger Woods. 4 out of 6, this young in his career. But here's the thing that people don't realize. Scotty Sheffler, the more we said, he can't keep doing this. He can't keep winning. I'm not going to pick him. This doesn't happen, right? And it doesn't. Every single time this guy won, it got more impressive than the last win before it. Start with Phoenix. Think about it. He birdied 4 out of 6 holes to end. He snuck into a playoff when Patrick Cantlay probably thought he blew it in the end. Cantlay lets him into a playoff. Sheffler wins that first win. 3 weeks later, the API, he was well back of Horschel and Victor Hovland. Both those guys stumbled down the stretch, and Sheffler didn't even need to break par on Sunday in Bay Hill to win. He was basically the last man standing. Okay, that was more impressive than Phoenix. Then we said, okay, he's not going to win again, right? So the match play comes around, and yeah, I get that he had done great the year before and almost won the whole thing, yada, yada, yada. But he's still playing against the best field in golf. Everybody's gunning for him. You don't win 3 times in 5 starts. I'm sorry you don't. He has 7 matches in 5 days, wins all 7 of them, and I think only 1 of them went to the 18th hole. That's ridiculous. He becomes number 1 on the world then. And so you're saying, okay, I'm into the Masters. I got to pick somebody. Why would I pick Scotty Sheffler? The guy's just won 3 out of 5 events, right? And he goes out there and really, if you want to be realistic about it, he didn't let anybody in this tournament after Friday afternoon when he got to 8 under par and had, a 5-shot lead. Cam Smith got a little bit close. There may have been a few other guys who got within 4, 3, 5 strokes. But Scotty Sheffler, the fact that he was able to 4-putt the last hole of the tournament and win by 3 was incredible. I know Tyler, Mike, and I will talk all about him a lot more, and they're probably just as bitter as I am that nobody picked him, and I don't know if anybody out there picked him. If you did, kudos. We'll see if that continues. The odds say it's not going to, but crazy things have happened in 2022, and Scotty Sheffler's exhibit number 1, clearly. I'm going to get back to these favorites this week in a second because I want to show this interesting stat that I found today. And it makes you wonder, is there a Masters hangover with players on the PGA Tour? This stat says yeah. And I know that the average winner's odds in the PGA Tour, probably somewhere between 4,000 to 6,000, plus 4,000 to 6,000. The average winner's odds of the last 10 RBCs at Harbortown, the odds of the winner going in, plus 8,200. And I'm sure going back farther, it's even more than that. Jim Furyk, and I forget who the other one was. Jim Furyk had the best odds. I think it was 1,800 in 2011. That was the best one that I could find. So it makes you wonder, is the same thing going to happen this week? Now, I had already mentioned that Scotty Sheffler defying all odds and throwing everything that we all thought we know out the door on the PGA Tour this year. So if we're not going to pick a favorite, let's at least do due diligence and go through who these top players are. I'll start with Cam Smith. I think the way that he was demoralized. He clearly was not the player, maybe call it halfway through Saturday that he was earlier in the week and that he definitely was at the Players, right? I mean, the guy's short game is incredible. It's a world class. That's not going to go away. I'm just wondering what kind of mindset Cam Smith is in, because he had his family with him at the Players. He said that was his number one priority. Had his dad with him at the Masters. You could kind of tell that Cam Smith, he kept on missing left, right? And eventually it ends up biting him and he couldn't get back up and down after so many times of doing it. I just got to wonder if Cam Smith is in it mentally. If the family's gone this week, he's done a lot. He's exhausted. I know he's only played twice since the Players. Ironically, this will be 2 in a row here after the Masters. I'm just going to stay away from it with the value of 1,400 because, and if you're going to pick a top dog, a top favorite, I think a lot of other guys on this list are going to be a lot better and more valuable to pick than Cameron Smith. I'll start with Justin Thomas. So he's got the best odds, obviously. He's the top picker here, plus 1,200. And I'm going to do something different this week. I am going to pull up stats. I'm going to go through a bunch of guys here tonight. Probably spend about 20, 30 minutes on this unless I get really deep into it, which I tend to do, which is probably why I don't do very well. So the one thing that I wanted to look at with Justin Thomas was he's only played this twice. Looking at it here, 2020, that was the weird year. They played this in June. He finished tied for 8th, and he had a 63 in the final round. So when I look at that, I like to see, okay, how did the guy play throughout the entire week? Did he have one hot round? Don't like to pick somebody based on one hot round. Did have a 63 in the final round, but we'll put that in the back of our head right now. The only other times he played, 2015 and 2016, very early in his career. I wouldn't even count those. It was so long ago. The guy was a kid. He was like 22 years old. 11th in 2015, 75th in 2016, and 82 in the final round. Don't care about any of that. Justin Thomas, what I want to look at this week is how does he do after a big emotional week? We have the sample size from the Players this year, right? So let's go to his results here, and I hope you can see it on the screen here. It looks like you can. At the Players, everybody raved about that 69, right? Toughest round of the year. Faltered a little bit. You can't blame him. Everybody faltered but Cam Smith. He came back the next week, shot 366s and a 70 in the final round. So the dude was in it. I like that. You look at the Masters, very similar. 76 was the worst case scenario he could have ever had at the Masters. I watched his entire round because I picked him. And the dude just couldn't hit a green to save his life. When I'm looking at him, I like that the Players, he responded at the Valspar. But let's go back in recent years with Justin Thomas and do the same thing. So Masters last year. Start with the Players last year. So he won the Players, obviously. Came back, match play doesn't really count. Did decent at the Masters. And then again, Valspar was 3 weeks after the Masters, but was T13. I don't mind that. 69, 67. PGA, he got cut. US Open, didn't do that great, tied for 19th. Justin Thomas, I maintain, is the hardest guy to pick on the PGA Tour. And the reason why I'm talking about him right now is because he has the best odds. I want to figure out if this is actually something good to do. My feeling... And look, usually, and I showed you the stat, players at the top of the world rankings aren't going to do that great at Harbour Town. But we've been saying the same thing about Scotty Sheffler. This can't happen, right? This can't happen. Maybe we're due for a top player in the world to do well at Harbour Town. Justin Thomas is a southeastern kind of player, likes the Bermudas. Clearly, his best golf is in the southeastern regions in Florida and North Carolina, winning in Quail Hollow. I like him. Let's go back to him. So I'm going to go back to we'll come back to him, I should say. Cameron Smith, I already said it. Colin Morkow, it's weird with Morkow. Look at his results. You could say, I got to pull him up real quick because he's not on here. You could say that Colin Morkow kind of fell off, but really, it was only in the Players' Championship. So let me get to Colin Morkow here. So looking at Colin Morkow's results from 2022, I mean, look at this. 2nd, 7th, 5th, 5th, 2nd. Of course, I picked him at the Players. He got cut. But again, the win was ridiculous. Valspar the next week, you can throw that out because everybody was exhausted, even though he didn't make the cut, played 2 rounds of golf at the Players. Match play did pretty well, and then the Masters, you could say that he played his way back into a good result at the end, and that's fair to say. But really, Colin Morkow has not been playing that poorly in 2022. Weak field, I could see why you'd want to pick him. It's not the best odds for your money value, but Harbour Town obviously is going to be one of those courses where driving's not really going to matter. It's one of the shortest courses they're going to play all year. The guys, of course, lights out approaching the green, 20th on the PGA Tour. His putting's been okay, actually. 31st is, for him, when he's got that stereotype of being a bad putter, that's actually pretty good. Around the greens is concerning, but, I mean, that's just what you're going to get with somebody like Colin Morkow. Not all of your stats are going to be top-notch, and he's only losing, on average of the field, less than a quarter of a stroke. So I wouldn't be that concerned about that. I think if Morikawa and Justin Thomas could be 2 that you'd want to look at. Dustin Johnson, I know people have been higher on him. I really do think Augusta is just his kind of golf course. And at this point in his career, and when I get Tyler and Mike back on this show, maybe one of them will disagree. I don't think either one will. Dustin Johnson is at the point in his career where I think he is a system golfer. Which type of golf course can he succeed at? People picked him at the Masters because it was soggy, playing like it did in 2020, and the guy's results for most of the weekend showed that it was a good pick. I'm just not sold that Harbour Town is his type of place, because you look at his finishes here, and no disrespect to Harbour Town, the field is okay. It's a decent, I'd say, middle of the pack for the PGA Tour. It's not the competition you get in all these big events, all the majors, the WGCs, API, Genesis, all that kind of stuff. His results, he's played here a decent amount, should be better against the kind of players he's going up against, should be better than they show. 13th in 2020, 17th before that, 28th and 16th. I'd expect Dustin Johnson, and these are the years in his prime, 2018 to 2020 were the prime of Dustin Johnson. You could say 15 and 16, yeah, as well, but I'm not impressed by these results at this golf course. So what does that tell you? It tells you that this is not Dustin Johnson's kind of golf course. And if anybody is going to go out there and act like they're going through the motions, you know it's going to be DJ. It's just the kind of guy he is. That's his demeanor, and it's fine. So pulling him up here, I'm going to go to his performance. He's just like Morikawa, actually a lot like Morikawa. Around the greens is where he struggles. He's good everywhere else. His putting's been okay. I do one thing with all these. It's all about gut reaction. And over the years, I've been trying really hard to stay with my gut, because I'm sure everyone out there is the same way. You have a gut idea. You get too fancy. You get too technical. And then all of a sudden, the guy that you wanted to pick, who you talked yourself out of, ends up doing well. And the guy you end up picking does terrible because you thought too much. So DJ, not feeling DJ this week at all. I'm going to go ahead and cross him off the list. Let's go back. Patrick Cantlay, I'm going to stay away from him. His hot days are behind him in the fall, January and February. Decent showing at Augusta. Maybe that kickstarts him, but none of these guys are superhuman. Scotty Sheffler's trying to be. Patrick Cantlay, he's living proof that you're not going to stay hot for too long, and he's down right now according to what his standards are going to be, and I don't think right now it's a time for Patrick Cantlay. I think that could easily come in the summer. Put him in the bank for majors down the road, because I think he's the kind of guy who can win majors. Tyler and Mike wouldn't agree with me on that, but that's the kind of guy I think he is. Matthew Fitzpatrick, that's the kind of guy who I don't think he's ready to win on the PGA Tour. I know he's done it in Europe. Nothing about his game. I think he's also a system guy like DJ. System course, I call it. I would stay away from him until he shows he's ready to win, because it just hasn't been all there for Matthew Fitzpatrick. Shane Lowry, is the next best odds at the top of the favorites. I understand why everybody is high on Shane Lowry. Okay? Last year here, tied for 9th. 2019, tied for 3rd. Tied for 44th in 2017. His only 3 appearances. I picked, and all disclosure, I picked Shane Lowry at the Masters to be my best value. I had him in a majors pool, and he was my best finisher. And the guy, man, he was there. That triple on 4 killed him. He would have been solo second, even with Rory's 64. He would have been solo second if not for that triple bogey. I am just curious how he's going to respond. And I know that he has been playing, really, the best golf of his career. Take away the Open in 2019, obviously, but he is knocking at the door, and he is so unassuming. Pull this up here. He's so unassuming. Well, first of all, the guy's clutch. He will hit a big-time shot when he needs to. He drives the ball great. He is a fantastic iron player. I watched him again every round at the Masters because I picked him. His short game is the concern. Let's start there. But at Harbour Town, is that a big deal? Great approaching the green, 11th. He's fine off the tee. Around the green, he's only marginally better than DJ and Colin Morkow, by the way. And his putting's actually been pretty good. He's been known to miss those short putts, but been pretty good this year. Is Shane Lowry knocking on the door? If I was going to do a one and done, I am just weary about him continuing this stretch. And for him, this is a hot stretch. Second at the Honda. He had the lead when Berger collapsed. 13th at the Players. It's pretty good. Valspar, another top 15. Match play, throw that out. And was very good at the Masters for 2.5 rounds. If I would go with anybody on this favorites list, Justin Thomas and Shane Lowry, I think the two. Everybody in the middle there between Thomas and Lowry, the value of Lowry is great. Plus 2,200. If I'm looking at 1,200 and 2,200, I would probably go with Shane Lowry over Justin Thomas just for the money factor alone. Shane Lowry probably will end up being my one and done at the end of the day if I don't talk myself out of it. Now, I had shown this stat, right? So if it's not going to be a top player, not very many guys, even with less than 2,500, plus 2,500 odds, have gone on to win the RBC Heritage. The average, like I said, 8,200. So let's look at who's on that list. And you could pick a plethora of guys. I've got Daniel Berger on the top here because he just coincidentally happened to be the highest odds, best odds of what I would call a value pick. I consider value picks to be anything above plus 2,500. Let's start with Daniel Berger. Daniel Berger is so sneaky. And I'm trying to figure out if he is a streaky player or not. Because let's go to 2020. Well, first of all, let's go back to 2016 when he really wasn't getting his due diligence because he was in this Justin Thomas and Jordan Spieth and Xander Schauffele era where those guys were all doing great. I mean, this guy won St. Jude's in 2016, has a bunch of top fives here. This is 2016, a long time ago. 2017 continued. More top fives, won St. Jude back-to-back, second at the Travelers. He clearly knew how to win. I say that in past tense right now. 6th at the U.S. Open in 2018. This is where he started to go downhill and he got injured. That was his big problem. He was injured. 18, 19, 20, really down on the depths. And then the COVID hit. And ironically, started playing well right when COVID hit. He won Charles Schwab. Tied for 3rd after that at the RBC Heritage. That's why I wanted to bring that up. 67, 69, 63, 65. A lot like Justin Thomas, Daniel Berger succeeds big time on these southern courses with these kinds of conditions and this kind of grass. Honda, 2020, tied for 4th. He was the leader at the Players, I believe, behind Hideki Matsuyama, actually. when they canceled it in the first round. Charles Schwab, obviously not a Southern course, I guess, unless you want to call that Southern in Texas. RBC Heritage, FedEx St. Jude's, Memphis, a Southern course. He tends to do well in these. Let's look at last year. Pebble Beach, clearly not a Southern course. 9th at the Players. I have already picked Daniel Berger in a one and done, but I think he's a pretty good value pick, especially looking at his performance. The guy is rock solid. Decent off the tee, good approaching, really good around the greens, 10th on the PGA Tour. And his putting is what's been suspect. So that's what you might want to be keeping in mind, even though it says 45th on the PGA Tour. I feel like he's been suspect. If I was going in the middle range there, Daniel Berger would be a good pick, but there's a couple other ones on here that I want to look at that I would actually hit on more so than Daniel Berger. Billy Horschel is just, he is a firecracker. It was so funny that he and Hatton played together because they were perfect for each other. Hatton's a different story for a different day. Let's go to Billy Horschel at plus 4,000. This feels like a Billy Horschel kind of design. Not just the course, but just where everybody's been at the last few weeks. Look at all these great starts for Billy Horschel in the last 2 months. And they've been everywhere, too. It's not just mentioning these southeastern courses. It's been everywhere. Farmers 11th, Phoenix 6th, Honda and the South 16th. Arnold Palmer felt like he should have won, tied for second. Withdrew from the Players. We can take that out. Good at the match play. And the Masters, that's another debate, is picking somebody at the Masters, or who was at the Masters, who played all 4 rounds in tough conditions. Where are they at mentally? So let's look at Billy Horschel, his history on this course, and how he's done following up after majors. Heritage 25th last year. Started 66, 67. That's good to know. This was after the Masters, finishing 50th. So the following week followed up 4 rounds in the 70s with 2 rounds in the mid-60s. That's very good. Let's go to 20. I throw out 2020 just for obvious reasons. 2019. 56th at the Masters. 4 rounds in the low to mid-70s. And then the week after, 45th at Heritage. 67 round 1 again. So the guy clearly knows how to play well here early after playing 4 rounds at Augusta. That's good to know. Faltered at the end, 72-75 on the weekend. U.S. Open in 2019, tied for 32nd. Tied for 3rd the following week. That's good to see. Actually, let's go back to 2018. I'll go with Billy Horschel really just... Let's go 2018. Had a pretty bad 2018, to be honest. But here you go. Cut at the Masters, 76-79. RBC Heritage tied for 5th, 66, 69, 67, and 72. This is exactly why I wanted to talk about Billy Horschel, because he's the kind of player who right now doesn't feel like he's ready to win a major mentally. Maybe his game's not there. I don't know. Maybe he doesn't have all the tools, but he's definitely the kind of guy who can win other tournaments. And he's shown that he can bounce back from Augusta and play really well. I'm digging him. His one flaw that stands out to me, though, you see the second one there, 109th approaching the greens, and at Harbor Town, I don't know if that's going to do it for you. A lot to like about Billy Horschel. One red flag, I should say. Is it worth it to not pick him? I think it's a fantastic pick based on history of how he's done after the Masters and on this course in specific. I'd say I am as high on Billy Horschel as anybody else. Let's go back to the next one. Adam Hadwin was just calling my name here. I really did like that. First of all, pull this up. I really did like that he didn't play in the Masters because he didn't have to deal with all that stress that everybody else had to deal with. Look at his past results. 2 cuts at the Farmers and the Genesis, both California courses. Not worried about that. Look at what he's done since that cut at the Genesis. 9th at the Players, 7th at the Valspar, 4th at the Texas Open. Let's look at him. So good form. Did he not qualify for the Masters? That's hard to believe that he didn't. Let's look that up. Hold on. Stay with me here. Hard to believe that Adam Hadwin did not qualify. All right, anyway, we'll go back to him here. Okay, let's go back to last year on this course. Cut. It started a very bad summer for him, minus an 8th place at Charles Schwab Challenge. Got cut here, 76, 67, 2 very bipolar rounds. 2020, I know it was in September, but we'll look anyway. 41st. Started bad, finished really good. 65, 67, 69. 2019. 48th. 71, 69, 74, 71. So he's been up and down at this place. If you're looking for somebody, because everybody when they're in the pools, right, they want to find somebody who they don't think anybody else is going to pick. I think people are going to pick Billy Horschel and Berger. A ton are going to pick Shane Lowry, by the way. Don't let that deter you, but if you want to make a splash and you want to gain ground on people, I don't think those are the names to pick. I think Adam Hadwin would be a name to pick, but he's not the last one on my list here. We're going to continue. Didn't play in 2018. I'll stop after 2017. 22nd in 2017. 71, 66, 71, 69. So he has shown he can do well and he can do very poorly at Harbortown. Okay, next on my list. Kevin Kisner. Plus 5,000. Did we almost forget about Kevin Kisner in the world of golf? Yeah, I know he won match play last year against Sheffler, but I mean, I did. I forgot about him. There was the debate if he should have made the Ryder Cup team because he's such a good match play player, clearly, by his record there. Kevin Kisner's been coming on in 2022. Century Tournament Champions, I don't look at that because that's such a different course and, you know, first event of the year. Everyone's on vacation, basically. 3rd in Sony, Hawaii, cut. 38th, cut. Here's where it got pretty good. 4th at the Players. 33rd at Valspar. Runner-up at Match Play. Tied for 44th at the Masters. Let's look at his performances real quick. Ooh, he's been bad. Off the tee's not a big deal at this course, but you got to hit it in the fairway, right? 139th off the tee. 159th approaching the green. 37th around the green, 7th in putting. I feel like the guy's got to have a really hot putter to contend this week. I put him on this list just to give it the benefit of the doubt. But let's see how he's done here in the past. 2021. Yep, cut at the Masters. Cut here and started a long stretch of cuts. 72, 73. Okay, how about 2020? Cut. 68, 71. To be fair, it was the second event after COVID, but he did decent the week before. That doesn't tell you good things. 2019. 41st. 71, 68, 72, 72. So one decent round. See, this is why we do this. Okay, well, hold on. Maybe I'm going to talk myself back into it. 7th in 2018, 69, 68, 66, 72. So he was in it until the final round when he shot 72. But what did he do around that? Decent at the Masters. Again, a runner-up at the match play. I'm not feeling Kisner this week. Let's go to 2017. That can be the tiebreaker. Heritage got 11th, 72, 64, 66, 74. He played some good golf that year, though. 4th, 25th, 10th, 48th, 11th, 2nd, 17th, 43rd at the Masters leading up, and 11th at the Heritage. Doing all the research and the homework there, something just feels off about Kevin Kisner. I'm gonna pass on him. Okay, down the list. We're almost done here. Harold Varner. Everybody knows what he has been doing lately. Let me X out all these. Harold Varner. This cat, man, that 80 on Saturday was just demoralizing. 6th at the Players, but you got to wonder, is that Players Championship and that awesome eagle he made, is that kind of tainting, I say our minds, my mind, on if he's a good pick? Let's look at his performances this year. 127th off the tee, losing strokes to the field, middle of the pack approaching the green, pretty good around the greens, middle of the pack putting. So nothing about his game really stands out. He would be a leap of faith, and what's he? 6,000. I don't have this up here. I apologize. Plus 6,000 for him. I just don't know if that's a leap of faith good enough for that value, because everything right now is telling me that Varner, take away his highlights, you see 6th here at the Players. 69 on Sunday at the Masters. Got him back into it, basically. Let's look at him here at Heritage. Tied for 2nd last year. That's why he's on the list. 66, 68, 69, 66. This was after he didn't play the Masters. This is after he missed the cut at the Valero. And he was middle of the pack, making the cut most weeks before that. Here, I mean, you want to take a swing, you could go with Harold Varner. I just feel like there are better options out there. Enervan Lahiri. Okay. We heard this name a while ago, or he went away, and now we're hearing it again. Plus 10,000 odds. That'll catch your eye a little bit. Remember that average? Plus 8,200. Let's pull that back up again. Look at all these winners of the RBC Heritage that were over plus 10,000. Last year, Stewart Sink. 2019, 2018. And then the other ones were really pretty close to 8,000, 5,000, 4,000. So, Enervan Lahiri at plus 10,000. Let's go to him. Great story on the PGA Tour, by the way. The kind of guy you want to root for. We all remember 2nd at the Players. Had some miscuts early. It's been very recent about Enervan Lahiri. Only one bad round of the Players at 73 in the wind. 13th in Texas. Let's look at him here in the past. Cut last year. After getting 5th at the Texas Open, that's not a good sign. Didn't play the COVID year. And then cut 2019. Am I talking myself out of Enervan Lahiri? Cut in 2018. This is when he started to have his issues. And 44th in 2017. All right, look at that. It's plus 10,000. I would pass. I've got one more name on here that I want to discuss. Charles Schwartzel is going to do one of two things this week. Really low odds, plus 12,500. He is either going to love what he did last week and continue this week, or last week's going to just be way too much for him mentally and physically, and he's not even going to make the cut. I'm curious the last time Charles Schwartzel won on the PGA Tour. Here's his problem. He's done absolutely nothing. There's a reason why the guy did so well at the Masters, and he's plus 12,500. There's a reason. Let me pull it up here. My apologies. There's a reason why Charles Schwartzel is that low of odds. Look at all of these miscuts. I mean, the guy has not been playing good golf. All these Florida courses, too. That's not a good sign. And then all of a sudden, he's in contention at the Masters. I'm just not feeling it. Oh, yeah. Look at all these red flags. He was on the list because he was a name at the Masters, and, of course, he knows how to win. But this is screaming, don't pick him. And look, you can have a guy who's doing pretty bad in one of these categories, but if you've got 2, 3, 4, basically all of these, staying away from Charles Schwartzel. All right, so I'm going to recap here, and then I'm going to say goodbye. Favorites don't win very often on the PGA Tour, I know, but this season's been so weird. How many first-time winners have we had? How many stars that were supposed to win crumbled at the end of tournaments earlier in this year? Didn't win. What Scotty Sheffler's been doing. Are we due for a star to win an event like this? Justin Thomas, I haven't picked him yet in one and done. So if you haven't either, I guess look at it this way. Is Justin Thomas ready to win another major? And I really don't know the answer to that because he has knocked at the door. Not that close, though. When he won the PGA 5 years ago, he had a heck of a season. Best season of his career. He's won multiple times, though, every single year. And he's won a lot every year. They're the smaller tournaments. They're not the majors. And that's why, if it's not going to be this week, you pick Justin Thomas somewhere. Maybe you pick him at Wells Fargo because he's got good memories at Quail Hollow. It could be this week as well. Justin Thomas, I think for that reason alone, if you're going to pick him for a one and done, I don't know if I would pick him at a major this year. Look what happened first round of the Masters. Everybody picked him, 76 the first round. Maybe this is the low-key type of event he needs to get back on track because this guy has been knocking at the door. I want to go back to Justin Thomas just to wrap this up. Look at what Justin Thomas has been doing in 2022. He says he's close, and by golly, you should believe him because look at this. Since the start of the new year, 5th, 20th, 8th, 6th, 33rd, 3rd, 35th in the match play, 8th at the Masters, and really kind of faltered on Sunday. The guy is waiting. Is he ready to win a major? I don't know. That's why I would pick him at a place like this. And then Shane Lowry. I think everybody, if I can give everybody one piece of advice, it's to not let your past failures deter you from picking somebody, number one. And number two, just because everybody else is picking him doesn't mean you don't have to pick him. If you're trying to make up ground, don't pick Shane Lowry because the guy is going to be a hot ticket this week. I can guarantee it. There's something about his game I like, his recent form. I'm just wondering if he's the kind of guy, again, who would be willing to do what it takes the week after having a letdown at the Masters. Justin Thomas, Shane Lowry would be my two top dogs. I'm liking Adam Hadwin. And Billy Horschel, actually, more so than Adam Hadwin. I like Hadwin. I love Horschel. I think for plus 4,000, Horschel, with all his pedigree, how he's done here, He's not a major championship caliber guy right now, but that's okay because this isn't that. I'm liking Billy Horschel right now. Horschel, Hadwin, Shane Lowry, Justin Thomas. Those are my 4. Again, you can throw so much out the window. That's why it's gambling, and that's why it's so frustrating. But that's what I'm thinking right now. So I hope that helps those of you out there who are trying as little to crunch the numbers as I do. Because I feel like when you crunch the numbers, like I said at the very beginning, it only goes bad for you. My gut's Justin Thomas, Shane Lowry, Billy Horschel, and Adam Hadwin. Tyler and Mike will be back hopefully next week. I'm going to say good night.